Hi guys, today is Saturday, February 13, 2016, afternoon. I'm coming on 5 o'clock in the evening. And guys, it's our choice whether or not people are going to treat us like shit, okay? At the end of the day, we weigh the pros and the cons, and we make the decision. Say, you know what? He buys me pretty nice things, and blah 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 blah. So I choose to stay with him. Plus, what are my options? Yes, you do have options. But what are my options? I mean, if I go away, then I gotta this, and I gotta that, and I gotta that. So what you're saying is you'd rather put up with whatever, so don't complain about it, because that's your choice. You'd rather put up with it than to choose one of your other options that's going to cause you some either slight discomfort or an uncomfort that you consider to be unbearable, or whatever, something in between. But I don't want to really talk about that it's our choice, because I talked about that recently. We talked about that recently, so we don't have to go over that again. But what we do want to talk about is, if you're a person who does get treated poorly, and you think, because a lot of us do, and probably most, unless you're on the tippity top of things, somebody's treating you with disrespect in some degree. And so, but you may be a person who says, could be worse, but I do, I do feel like pretty crappy when people treat me this way and stuff. And you don't wanna deal with it anymore. You've gotten to this point where you're just like, but what can I do? What do I do? What is there some practical advice you can give? Well, it just boils down to what we started with. It is your choice, and the practical advice that we can give at this time is do the thing, because the repercussions of having to adjust yourself to a new situation, of not being treated like shit but having its own challenges, I mean, that's something you have to consider, and you have to decide through and through, yes, I'm ready to go through that door. At least then I'll have some shred of my dignity still left with me. Because when you deal with some people, especially people who think that they're up somewhere higher than you are, it can be a real blow to you deep inside, not just the ego thing, but over time it can start to wear you down to where you start to feel like less. You feel worthless. You don't want to do that anymore. So you just got to rip that Band-Aid off, and you got to do the thing that you would admire in someone else. If you saw somebody, if you were able to somehow witness somebody who's kind of in your predicament, and you could see like a fly on the wall, them walk in, knock on the door, excuse me, Mr. Jones, do you have a moment? Yeah, what do you want? Like that, right? Because that's how they always talk to you. And so you're watching, and he walks in, well, I just decided, I've made a decision that I'm not going to put up with the way you treat me anymore. And I'm giving you my 2 weeks notice here and now. And that's it. And it doesn't matter what he says after that. Asshole motherfucker. That's it. Because you've made your decision. And he says, whatever. I can find another you in 2 seconds. You don't need to give me 2 weeks notice. Clear your shit out. You say, okay. You don't expect any better from him. I mean, you're right. So you say, okay. And you walk away. Unemotional about it. All right. And well, anyway, it's not you. So you see this happen, and you've witnessed this person do the thing. Now just insert your face. That's it. You know? Do the thing that you admire in others, being able to stand up for themselves and do what needs to be done. All right? And, to hell with it. Because human beings deserve to be treated with some measure of respect, right? Yes, we do. We do deserve that. I'm living shit in the garage right now as I'm doing this. And it's not right when people mistreat us, just thinking that's just how it is. No, it's not just how it is. It's just how it was. And yeah, there will be challenges, new challenges, but at least you'll have some self-respect, that keeps getting, taken away from you or whatever. Right? And that's what we want. We want our self-respect back. Don't let people treat you like shit. The only person that should be treating you like shit is the person who never has to take a shit. Okay? Otherwise, if you had to sit on the fucking toilet like the rest of us, sorry asses, in your estimation, well, guess what? You ain't much better than we are. You ain't any better than we are. You wipe your ass and a dookie on the well, okay, we get it. No, really. You gotta think about it like that. Your shit stinks. You can walk with your head high up in the air and think you're looking down at people. But you know what? Until you've gotten that mastered, where you don't have to do the do. That's it. And don't be afraid of what if this and what if that, and now I have to. So what? You're going to be thrown into a different situation now. I'm saying thrown. You may not be thrown, but worst case scenario, you may be thrown into a new, unfamiliar situation. So what? That's what life is. That's what the experience is. You've already done the experience of being in a shitty situation, and you know how that feels. You know how it makes you feel. You know about it. You've been there, you've done that. Okay? And it's up to you now if you want to just keep going that cycle. Round and around and around and around and around. But don't complain to other people or tell your story in tears like a victim or anything like that, because you know what? No. We are all in the driver's seat. We all, and of course, the the catalyst for this recording was sort of a situation where, I mean, I was not being treated like, you know, scum on the bottom of a person's shoe. Not to that extent, but still just kind of like, you know, listen, no, And that's why, it's like, at least you have to at least treat me as well as I treat myself. That's why we have to treat ourselves a loving, compassionate, yet firm way, because then we will take no less from others. And that's the way it's supposed to be. Because then, even though you're going to be standing there, you feel all alone in the emptiness. Like, okay, now what the fuck am I going to do? But you know what? You're still going to have that fortitude that you've already built up. That part of you inside that has felt so betrayed in the past. Like, why did you let him talk to me like that? Why'd you let him talk to us that way? That part of you inside always feels betrayed by you. At least, think of it like a child if you want to, and you've came to their rescue. And that child, the way they feel now, like, wow, we did it. We actually did this, you see? Anyway, so the person was just like, but see, I don't know. I don't like that. No. Because then that sort of started to make me feel like, it didn't make me feel like less of a person, but it made me feel like what it would feel like to be less of a person. Because I already know that I'm not less of a person, right? And that's what we want to get to that point. Because then when other people start to dictate to us how to feel about ourselves, I'm like, psh, fuck you. I already know how I feel about myself. If you want to feel about me that way, that's your fucking problem. Go on with it. Leave me alone with that shit. You do that in the comfort of your home, out of my presence, and God love you. Psh. But no. So I just walk away from that stuff. Because people are always rationalizing, well, they're saying, well, here's the pros, here's the cons, and so I'll put up with it. All right. But I won't do that. I'm like, no. Because my situation was, okay, I went into it with a positive attitude and, just very ready to work together and, yada, yada, yada. Just really optimistic about it. And the experience cut that down. And so it wasn't, and I'm like, no, I won't settle for less. Even that, if that means, okay, the whole thing's off the table of something that I really kind of looked forward to. Oh, well, because you know what? What's off the table was already off the table. It was off the table when that motherfucker started, then it already became something other than what I had anticipated and looked forward to. So I didn't walk away from the thing that I wanted. I walked away from the thing that I don't want. See? Does that make sense to you guys? But we live in a society where, there's such double standard. Not even double. It's like double talk. They're saying these things that they're reading. Like, yeah, you stand up for yourself and you love yourself. Blah, 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 blah. But at the other side of their mouth, it's coming out all this shit about, well, you gotta take the good with the bad and sometimes situation. No! There's no fucking gray area for this, guys. No. These are people that something is not jiving in their lives, and they're saying a lot of different things. You don't want to take advice from them. Not that I'm saying take it from me personally. I'm just telling you what my experience is right now. And if you want to get out of a situation that's kind of depleting you of good feeling, well, I'm just describing to you how I go about it. It could be that you go about it a different way, or you don't go about it at all and you say, fuck it, I'll just stay. That's your choice. At the end of the day, it's our own choice. I'm just saying, you know what? It's not life and death most of the time. And even when it is, there are people who choose death over being treated like shit. Or being, there are people who will go to that extent. And most of us are not having to go to that extent. But so it's not like, well, I have no choice. We always have a choice. There's always options. And that may cause, like we said, some discomfort, some adjustment. We might have to sacrifice or give up some of the things that make our life more comfortable. But, that's just the way it is. That's just the way life is. We choose what, we prioritize. No, I can't tell you what your priorities are. You can't tell me what mine are. I can tell you what mine are, and if yours resemble mine, well, then maybe the things that work for me would work for you. On the other hand, if what I say doesn't resonate, then just don't scrap it. Just turn this off, because it's just not gonna. You don't ever want to force, and that's the thing too. You don't want to force. I'm talking to you guys who are at your wits' end, like, I don't know, man. I'm feeling like I could snap, and I don't know what that means. I'm talking to you guys, because I want to help. I want to help you to be able to help yourselves, and that's what this is. We don't need other people coming to our rescue to take us out of situations. We can decide to walk away from situations that we are not happy in, that we feel that we're being abused or mistreated or dehumanized. And so, anyway, so I just let the person know, yeah, thank you, but no thank you. And that's it. And the other thing is, like, people feel like obligated sometimes too. Like, so maybe the situation was, well, my mother got me this job, and, and so she's tied into it, and, I haven't had a steady job in a while, and if this one, and what are people gonna say? Yeah, okay, those are considerations. But still, the bottom line is it's our choice, and and that's why when we start learning to accept ourselves and appreciate ourselves and all aspects of ourselves, then, when other people don't get us, or other people say, yeah, I knew you were a flake. Yeah, I knew blah, 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 whatever. Yeah, okay, fine. You knew it. And we'll be able to let that just float on by, because we're okay with ourselves now. Really okay. We're not just saying it because it's just kind of in vogue now to say, oh, I love myself. No, but you feel it deep and from head to toe. I'm okay with me. Then those other considerations, like, well, what are people going to say? And somebody went out of their way for this. And no, there is no situation that obligates you to stay where you are being treated unwell, in a bad way. So, because that's how we muddy the waters. The bottom line you have to ask yourself is, do I feel less in this situation? Somehow, does this situation cause me to feel less of myself? Whatever that means to you, cut you down somehow. Chip away at your soul somehow, or something like that. If the answer to that is yes, then all of those other considerations, in my estimation, need to disappear out of your, because that's just noise in your thoughts now. That's just noise. That's just the mind tripping you up and confusing you. Because the issue is, how do you feel? Not what is mama gonna say? And what are the neighbors gonna think? And what about this and what about that? We'll get to those things. And I know that's, you know, it's just what it is. You have to trust in yourself and trust in the universe and trust that when something doesn't feel right, that means it's not right. You know, it's like Uncle Joseph at the family barbecue saying, "Come on and sit on my lap." That doesn't feel right. Now, unfortunately, I come from a family of people that say, "Go on and sit on his lap," you know? But now we know that's not always a good idea. Most of these creep bastards that are hurting children are friends and family. And we know better now. But still, as a child, if you've experienced something like that, you know if it doesn't feel right, it's not right. You shouldn't do it. You know? When you get that feeling inside. But we second guess, which means it's not actually us second guessing. It's thought coming in and saying, what about these people? What about this? It's rarely going to be, it's very often it's going to have to do with, well, what other people, how they play into the situation, and not about how you're feeling, what it's doing to you. But that is the issue, what it's doing to you, how it's affecting you. So we want to stay focused on that. And when other people come up and basically tell you, listen, dude, your feelings don't matter. Once you've come to understand your feelings do matter, absolutely, then when they say that bullshit, you'll just be like, and let it go in one ear and out the other. Let them have their say, whatever. They feel like they can speak on your life, you know? And sometimes people do have your best interest at heart, you know? Sometimes it is that mama's going to be embarrassed now because now she's got to tell your friends you're going to be not employed again or whatever. But sometimes it's not that trivial. Sometimes it is that, you know, people are concerned, but they're not in our skin. They don't feel the feelings that we're going through when we're being mistreated, you know? It's the same as reading a book or going through the experience yourself. You can read a book and your heart can start to race at certain parts of the book, and you might shed a tear at certain parts of the book, but you know what? It was a book. And that's how we have to look at other people when they're kind of trying to share their opinions of how our life should be unfolding. You have to understand, they can't be in our skin to understand from our perspective. Even people who have gone through similar situations, you know, we all are different. We're so different, you know? I know one guy, he went through kind of a tumultuous family life growing up. And he just kind of was like, yeah, you know, that's how it was. And then I've seen other people. I knew someone personally who went through hard situations growing up and just devastating. The destruction, you know, the absolute horror and all of everything. It just, you know, so we're different. And so somebody can't come up on you and say, yeah, well, we all go through shit, you know, you need to just get up on that horse and ride. Yeah, I appreciate that you think you know me so well. You know, you don't even have to say that out loud. Usually it's best when people are trying to run your life. If you're not going to just say, listen, I'm not going to do what you're saying so you can stop talking. If you're not going to just do that and grab it by the balls, then usually you just can, when people are going on and on and on, you just sit there and nod your head and kind of think about other stuff and let them have their little say. And, you know, like and just say, okay, yeah, I see, that makes sense. Let them do their thing. Let them go through their spiel or whatever. And then you do whatever the fuck you want to do. Whatever is going to make you happy. That's what you're going to do. Now, here's this motherfucker. God damn. Oh, Lord, I'm sorry. You guys are probably like, how can you seem to have such a loving, because, I think, I don't know. Even, it's hard, man. Even when you understand that a lot of times people are assholes because of just frustrations and fear and anxiety and stuff they've gone through and witnessed and dealing with. It's still, when you have to come across people and then they bring all that, it's just like, oh, I don't even want to, whatever, just go in the house. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to see you. I don't want to. I'm just a human. No, I'm just playing. It is what it is. We don't naturally gravitate toward everyone, and I don't need to beat myself up about that, I don't need to excuse it or rationalize about it or say anything at all. It is how I feel. And for you too, when you have feelings that are true feelings, we don't need to apologize for how we feel. Now, if I go outside and I kick that motherfucker in the balls, well, see, that's a problem. But I'm not going to I'm not going to act on the feelings that I have of just like not wanting to associate. I'm not going to act on it aggressively like that and cause physical harm to the guy. Anyway, that was fun. That was too fucking long, wasn't it? God, almost half an hour. Much love, you guys. Bye.